At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
Steel Graphics and Designs creates custom racing wraps and logos built for the real world and iRacing. From bold liveries to clean, professional branding, every design is made to perform on and off the track. Ready to upgrade your look? Contact Steel Graphics and Designs for custom wraps. Visit Steel Graphics and Designs on Facebook to learn more.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to race number 10, the halfway point of the FloridaSkinDoctor.com BTDY Racing Series. Tonight is a first for the series as we head down to Alabama to take on BARBER Motorsports Park for the KHIO 110. Who will be the driver that will tame the unknown tonight and come home with the win? We'll find out live right here on VSPEED. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Daniel Cunningham. Alongside me up here in the commentary booth and also running production is Adam Baker. And as always, those camera angles courtesy of Dougie Beard. And Adam, I'm not going to lie. We were talking about this track before the race, before we went live here. I don't know this track at all. I know exactly what is in the description on iRacing. I don't even remember buying this place. I know there's a lot of cool statues and stuff around it like you see on the screen there. But you said you've actually been here before. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this track that we're heading to tonight?
Yeah, I have been to the racetrack. There's a cool bridge that goes over one of the straightaways that you can walk over. And I haven't seen much racing action in person, just the Porsche Club of America kind of out there doing track day. But I've called a couple races, watched a couple IndyCar races here. Definitely a tricky track for these drivers here tonight in these next-gen machines. It's a track we're usually seeing the IndyCars and IMSA, race on. So much more well equipped for the road courses. But these next gen cars may be the best of any NASCARs ever on road courses. And again, they'll have their work cut out for them here. 15 turns. We've got tight corners at both ends of the front straightaway and all the way around the racetrack. Very technical course with elevation change, 2.38 miles. This place has been here for just over 20 years, 23 years now in 2026. So really fun racetrack, and some cool statues all littered throughout the inside of the track to kind of keep your eyes on. But yeah, should be a fun one tonight.
And I actually just noticed with watching some of our drivers make their qualifying runs, you talked about that bridge. If you're an IndyCar fan, you've seen them race here. There's the I think it's like a mannequin or something that they actually put on one of the bridges that's kind of like, you know, hanging onto the bridge there. And I noticed that iRacing actually has that on the scan here. So it's kind of getting a little chuckle out of some of the little Easter eggs that they've hid with this place around the track. So it's definitely an interesting one. There's the big spider statue somewhere in the infield here. But, you know, you might catch some of those on the camera angles here this evening. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one as we take a quick look at our points while the drivers finish up their qualifying runs. Adam Cabot pretty securely in the lead there. He's got 15 points over Seth Hatchell, Braxton DeWeese, and Bailey Turner, your top four. All of those drivers, just 23 points separating them. Kind of the first little group of cars that we've got. You got Keith Mayato, Chris Samar, James Loveland, Ray Massey, Angelo Ronas, and Dallas Sullivan rounding out your top 10. Two admins with Cody Atkins and Alan Dice holding down those last two chase spots. And then it's 12 points back to Paul Hahn and 14 to Michael Jones. 16 to Jake Maki there with those drivers below the cut line. Going to be a little bit of movement with that as well. The drivers do have the 2 drop weeks to use. We're closing in on the end of the regular season here. Just 3 races left, including the race here tonight. And a little bit smaller field here. So some of those drivers, even that are above the cut line, are going to be in danger of possibly dropping below that here, depending on if they've already used their drop weeks and whatnot. So a lot of movement still that can take place. But these drivers have finished up their qualifying runs. It's time to go ahead and take a look at our starting lineup for the KHIO 110 here this evening. Starting on pole is going to be the 6 of Ryan Gemmel. Adam Cabot, if there's one thing that we remember from the last road course race that we had at Mosport, Adam Cabot may be the one to watch to put on a show here. He flipped over, was upside down, ended up finishing P2 in that race. He's going to start P2 here tonight on the outside of the front row. Second row will be Dennis Faircloth rolling off in third. Really strong qualifying run for him. Bailey Turner lining up in the 4th position. In 5th will be Seth Hatchell with Dallas Sullivan to his outside in P6. Row number 4 will be Chris Samard in the 77 with Braxton DeWeese to his outside, rolling off in 8th. Rounding out your top 10 will be Michael Jones in 9th, Rob Liedl in the 10th position, electing not to take a lap time. In 11th will be Cody Atkins, Jake Maki starting in the 12th position. Rounding out your field here this evening, Thomas Brendel in the 13th position. So, yeah, a little bit smaller field here, but still a lot of strong drivers trying to make their way up through the field here tonight. Take a quick look at our race analysis. We've got 45 laps. There will be a competition caution on lap number 12. Pits will close as the leader starts lap number 10. So drivers do have the option to undercut, but they're going to have to do it a couple laps before that comp caution. 4 sets of tires available. Only have the admin thrown cautions if there's a track blocker here tonight. 70% fuel that they are running here at this event as opposed to the 80 that we normally have. So probably be a 2-stop race at the comp caution. And then again, once we get past that comp caution, probably split that final run in half.
Yeah, and pretty hot track temp, 101 degrees here in Birmingham, Alabama. And these guys are, again, going to have their work cut out for them. Not a lot of experience for most of these drivers at this track at all. And to bring it here in a Gen 7 machine could be a whole new challenge. Should be a lot of fun. My money is probably on one of those first 3 or 4 guys in qualifying. They seem to have a decent handle on on the car and on the racetrack. I think Ryan's actually run here in real life. Adam Cabot, of course, always competitive on these road courses. Dennis Faircloth is a sneaky road course ringer as well. So I can't really count those guys out. And you can see just all this elevation change, this technical kind of S's section of the racetrack. We will have a track map up on the screen as well for you to follow along with your favorite drivers. And yeah, we'll do our best to, see where everybody's at on the racetrack.
Well, since you mentioned it with who your money's going to be on, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who's your pick to win tonight, Adam?
I'm going to go with Ryan Gemmel here tonight for this one.
Would it be the low-hanging fruit if I took Adam Cabot and took the other front row driver starting here tonight? Yeah, it might be, but you know what? After the show he put on at Motorsport, that's who I'm going with. Give me Adam Cabot to get the win here this evening. And I believe this was this the same front row we had at Motorsport, or was it Seth Hatchell that was the other driver on the front row? I think it might have been Seth now that I think about it.
No, I'm pretty sure it was these two, and Adam got into turn one a little deep and got into the side of the 6, and off they went into the grass, but they'll get another shot at it here.
They will indeed get another chance at it here this evening as the pace car is off onto the pit lane. Getting ready to take the green flag for the race here this evening. They head down the front straightaway. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway here at Barber Motorsports Park.
Hard on the brakes into turn number 1. Everybody makes it through.
A really orderly start there through turn number 1. Saw Dallas Sullivan a few cars back, get a little bit wide there, using a little bit of the runoff area, but everybody able to get it single file down. Ryan Gemmel already starting to pull out to a little bit of a lead here. Chris Samard trying to maybe take a look to the inside, but not quite close enough to Dallas Sullivan to make a move. But behind them, Braxton DeWeese and Jake Maki battling for position. And a little bit surprised that we didn't see Chris Samard qualify a little further up the field. Normally, I would expect him to be pretty strong at these road courses.
Yeah, it's a new challenge, I think, for pretty much everybody out here, right? So definitely some struggles probably with the car and maybe not a lot of experience at this specific road course, although he does have quite the IndyCar resume. Another one that, we don't see out here, Keith Mayato, he would have been an option maybe for a win. Cody Adkins just went around, by the way.
Yeah, Cody Adkins getting off track back behind the pack here. You can see kicking up quite a bit of debris onto the racetrack as well, something that was a recent update with iRacing where they'll start dragging out grass and dirt, gravel onto the racetrack when you end up going off course. Take a quick look on the replay here, and just car steps out on him going through those turns. Does a nice job locking the brakes up, making sure that the field is by before he gets back out on track. So no harm, no foul, aside from some lost track position. But here in front of Thomas Brendel, that is the 80 of Rob Liedl that has gone around. Another spin here on lap number 2. Take a quick look at the replay on this one as well. This is heading down into turn number 1. Just gets on the brakes a little bit too hard. Back end snaps around on him there.
We go up to the front. Adam Cabot's actually just taken the lead away from Ryan Gemmel. It was a tight battle for a couple of corners, but he's able to make the move, and he's going to get to the race lead. But the top 4 all within a second and a half of each other. But Cabot with the early advantage now on lap number 2.
Yeah, really strong run here for Adam Cabot early on. I was trying to take a look at the move that was put on there. And yeah, he just basically was able to outbrake Ryan Gemmel down into turn number 1 to kind of draw up close to him. And then Gemmel locking the tires up just a little bit and struggling with grip. And, something too that we hadn't touched on yet, we didn't mention in the pre-race, is that these cars do have that low downforce, high horsepower package like NASCAR is running at all the road courses and short tracks in real life. So that's going to
replay here, by the way, just taking a look. It looks like, just able to get on through there on Ryan Gemmel. Nice pass.
But yeah, that'll add another challenge to this race as well, with having that extra power, the lack of downforce. So you know, just throw another wrinkle into it as we've got a pass for P3 here shaping up. That is Bailey Turner looking to the inside of Dennis Faircloth. Dennis gives him plenty of room through turn number 1, and Bailey Turner going to be able to take that position away.
It'd be interesting to see if anyone does any type of fuel strategy with the lap 12 comp caution. We haven't had that in, you know, a few races. There goes Bailey a little bit wide. Dennis takes a peek to the inside, but thinks better of it. That's going to actually open up maybe an opportunity for Seth Hatchell, but I think Seth may be just content to be running in the top 5 and, you know, try and learn a little bit here on this first stint, but pretty tight amongst the top 7. Very, very interesting there, and a little contact.
Oh, so much for just trying to learn.
Yeah.
Seth Hatchell was trying to gain a position there. Dennis Faircloth runs off track, and then Dallas Sullivan gets into Seth Hatchell just a little bit there. Seth was trying to check up and give Dennis a chance to gather it back up and get back on track. You know, he wasn't trying to make the pass that way by any means. Let's go back and take a quick look at the replay on this one. Seth just gets down into the turn a little bit too hot, under braking, gets into Dennis Faircloth. And then this is where the stack up kind of happens, because you can see he checks up to try to let Dennis on track, and just ever so slight contact between the 8 and the 46 there.
Yeah, good job though by all of those guys to keep it pointed in the right direction. And yeah, really aggressive move there by Seth. He had a nice run down that straightaway and just not able to get it on the binders hard enough. And there goes Dallas Sullivan around behind him.
Oh yeah, Dallas Sullivan able to hang on to it. I didn't see if there was contact from the 77 of Chris Samard. I don't believe there was. Chris was right on the back bumper of Dallas Sullivan when he went around there. Let's take another look at this one.
Chris was peeking to the inside, but yeah, no contact, just a little too much wheel into it, maybe a little too early on the throttle. Able to hang onto it ultimately, but losing a few spots.
Yeah, not quite as close as I initially thought on that first view that I had on my screen there, but yeah, just another one of those kind of, for lack of a better term, it's like a lazy half spin that these next gen cars are kind of famous for at these road courses. You know, you mentioned that they are kind of built for road courses. In theory, they're one of the best handling cars at road courses out of the NASCAR stuff. But that's really the biggest challenge with them, is it just seems like you get those kind of half spins where you can't really do anything with it other than just kind of lock the brakes and let the car settle back down. But a lot of drivers doing a great job of navigating that so far as we ride on board here with Bailey Turner. And Turner's been consistently faster than your race leader, Adam Cabot, here the last lap or so. And starting to close that gap down a little bit. Of course, does still have Ryan Gemmel in between himself and your race leader. But it's really interesting to see these drivers navigate this track, just knowing how the IndyCar drivers attack it from watching some races here. Just so different with trying to get this big stock car wheeled around this place.
As he works his way towards turns 11, 12, and 13, the back end of this racetrack, up and over the hill, you can see it's a blind corner pretty much, and down the hill. And this is a very long sweeper that turns into a kind of a tight right hand and then back to the left. Doing a nice job navigating that. But this time around, we'll take a look at the speeds. I think he lost just a little bit to the top 2, a little bit to Adam Cabot, but pretty even amongst the top 3.
Yeah, really close lap times, all within about 0.2 of a second. And from watching that onboard with Bailey Turner, the thing that's the most impressive to me is, you know, you mentioned how some of these turns are blind turns, but yet he still knows where to place the car to be able to maximize the I want to say runoff area, but to maximize like those rumble strips, be able to carry as much speed as possible. So it takes a lot of trust in yourself, a lot of trust in the car to be able to do that. And pretty impressive what these guys are able to do getting around here.
Yeah, these guys just have such a good handle on the next gen car. And, you know, they really know what it's going to do, how it's going to react, even on an unfamiliar racetrack like this. I think the setup they're using is potentially the Watkins Glen setup. This is a pretty high-speed road course. You know, they're hitting over 140 miles an hour in a few areas, maybe even more than that on the front stretch. It's a pretty long straightaway. And Ryan Gemmel seems to be picking up the pace a little bit. He's definitely faster in the mid part of the racetrack. As we get back towards the start-finish line here, he's cut that deficit down to under 3/4 of a second, but looks like maybe struggling off of turn number 16.
Yeah, and you got to wonder a little bit if there could be some aero that comes into play with that. I mean, I know we don't talk about that a ton at road courses, but I know that is something just from other leagues and even within BTDY here. We've heard the drivers talk about the dirty air, even with the low downforce package. So he's kind of in that range where you would expect it to start to affect the car just a little bit and possibly lose a little bit of grip with that.
Yeah, you can see when he puts the throttle down, he's getting a lot of tire spin. So, yeah, just not quite as much grip as I'm sure he was hoping for. Battle maybe starting to shape up back here inside the top 5. Dennis Faircloth starting to feel some pressure again from Seth Hatchell, who had backed off after he made the mistake. Got in a little bit too deep trying to make the pass, and he is really closed up there through the S's.
Yeah, had a little bit of a lockup on the right front there, but still able to gain some ground on Dennis Faircloth through that section of the track. And I mean, it's really easy to lock up right through there. Even in the Indy cars, it's easy to do because with the way the elevation change is, the car kind of wants to come unseated from the track. So it's really easy to do, but still carrying a lot of speed, making some good lap time. Let's go back up to the front here. Adam Cabot has actually stretched that lead back out now over Ryan Gemmel. It's half a second faster that last lap. So got to think maybe Gemmel had a little bit of a bobble somewhere. You know, you documented that he was struggling for rear grips. I got to wonder if maybe he got the rear tires just a little bit angry and needs to back off just a bit, let them cool down, try to mount another challenge here before we get to that comp caution.
Yeah, just kind of maintaining at the moment.
Oh, Bailey Turner's going around in third. That was going into turn number 1. Dennis Faircloth now is looking to the outside. See if he's able to get around, which Faircloth is able to get around him. And that's that kind of lazy half spin that I was talking about. Just not really an area that you would expect the car to do that. Probably not putting a ton of throttle into it right there. And just once, I mean, this car doesn't have a lot of side force to it. Once it starts to get loose like that, there's really no saving it. You're just kind of along for the ride at that point. He does only lose one spot, though, because he had a pretty big gap over the cars behind him and still right on the back bumper of Dennis Faircloth here, but doing a little bit of lawn care there on the exit of that turn.
Yeah, somebody's got to mow the grass every now and then, but yeah, not exactly where you want to put the race car with 2 tires off, but able to keep it pointed the right way. And yeah, good job by Dennis Faircloth to take advantage of the mistake by the 24 and then complete the pass and be able to hold him off once Bailey kind of got his bearings back underneath him. And Dennis always strong at the road courses. I think the next gen car is a completely different animal, right? But in the normal kind of Xfinity or the older Gen 6 cars, he was always a competitor with drivers like AJ Stravato and you know, lots of the big names here in the series, and having a good strong podium run for the moment. Adam Cabot, though, dominant form as he is your points leader coming into the race, trying to extend that lead over Seth Hatchell, who's kept it pretty close, still within about 15 points coming into tonight's race.
Yeah, which it's kind of surprising, I guess, for lack of a better term, that Seth has kept it that close. And that's not a knock on Seth, but you know, when you've got somebody like Adam Cabot that's winning at a 50% clip here early on in the season, it's kind of crazy that Seth's been able to keep it that close. As we take a look at a replay here for the 13 of Jake Maki, and he gets into the guardrail just a little bit there after another one of those kind of half spins that we've talked about. Does a nice job not making heavier contact with the wall there, but able to continue on currently in the 10th position. But yeah, just to go back to Seth Hatchell for a moment, that just kind of underscores how strong of a season he's been having, that even though he doesn't have the win, you know, he's he's really done a nice job of running consistently and putting together some good races. As we see, Ryan Gemmel is going to pull the undercut here. He's going to flip we'll call it flip the stage, even though it's not a stage break. Gets on the pit lane before the pit lane closes here at lap number 10. He's going to take 4 tires and fuel, and then he'll stay out for the race lead once that caution comes out.
It does look like there's maybe a little bit of fall off, but it's not all that much. And they're likely going to have to make another pit stop. So Adam Cabot, we'll see how he is able to respond once he's back in the runner-up spot after the break. But he made the pass already on Ryan. I think Ryan just trying to get some type of advantage, get that clean air back on the nose, and as he gets back on the racetrack, he'll get passed up by Jake Maki, Michael Jones. I think Ryan's pretty much going to just run pace laps out here, try not to go a lap down, and then cycle back to the race lead with this strategy. But a couple guys fighting for position before that comp caution. We've got 3 cars under a blanket here. Maybe make it 4 with Chris Samard not too far back.
Yeah, and Bailey Turner closing right back in on the back bumper of Dennis Faircloth now. This for the 2nd position. And Bailey Turner, he is driving the wheels off of that thing right now. And, you know, he knows he's got Seth Hatchell behind him, so he's trying to make some ground here and not lose that spot as well. But, you know, we saw the 24 have that spin earlier. We know that the handling and the grip is not quite what he's wanting out of it right now, but still going for it. It's not going to be an easy pass to make. As he takes a look here, he's looking to the outside, maybe try to pull a little crossover here on Dennis Faircloth, and able to make it work for right now. Both drivers, you can see the back end dancing around while they're trying to get the power down. Faircloth still has a nose on him. We'll see if he sends it in, but it's like he's content to just slot in behind Bailey Turner for right now. But he's also got Seth Hatchell right there on his back bumper as well.
Yeah, all this happening about 9.5 seconds behind your race leader, and Chris Samard is closed right up as those 3 were battling. He's hoping for a mistake maybe out of one of them, just step a tire off the racetrack and he'll slip on through, but not the case just yet. Braxton DeWeese also not too far back. It looks like he started to find some consistent pace, maybe on the long run here. You know, if he can stay a little closer to the rest of the pack, might have a shot at a top 5 finish here tonight. As Adam Cabot, are you seeing him on the racetrack? I'm not seeing him out there. I'm not sure if
it looks like he may have had a connection issue there momentarily. He had actually disappeared off the track. The competition caution is out. Adam Cabot is still out there on the racetrack. So yeah, it looks like that may have been some sort of intermittent connection issue there for him, which I believe we've seen that pop up before with him periodically. But so far, back rolling, everything good to go as we get that lap 12 comp caution that'll reset things here a bit and give these drivers a chance to come down, take tires. You know, you had mentioned Ryan Gemmel as well. You said he was probably going to go out there and just run pace laps. When that caution came out, he was about 15 seconds behind Jake Maki, and we saw him basically on the 13's back bumper right as he came out of the pit lane. So definitely taking care of those tires, trying to save all of the good and all the grip in it that he can there.
Yeah, and his concern now is he's got to get caught up to the field and, you know, actually get past everyone before they get off pit road. You know, he won't cycle to the front if he's not there yet. You know, the leaders can still get back to the front of the pack, but it looks like we're not going to get the pit lane open just yet. So I think he's got plenty of time to get there, as Adam Cabot is going to bring him around to the pace car, and we'll cycle around one more time. But that's, you know, kind of a concern you see in like IndyCar or F1, right? If someone pits and you know, they are trying to get caught back up, but the leaders can beat them off pit road. So yeah, we'll see how it works out for him. Should have time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but I believe was where Adam Cabot was at when the caution was thrown. He had actually made it past the exit of pit lane. So Yeah, so they basically had to go the whole way around to catch the field, or to catch the pace car rather, which, yeah, I think he'll have plenty of time to get around there. So not going to be a concern for him at this point. But just a quick reset. Adam Cabot, your race leader. Bailey Turner, Dennis Faircloth, Seth Hatchell, Chris Samard, your top 5 as we run here at the comp caution. 2 lead changes so far. We saw that good battle for the lead between Adam Cabot, between Ryan Gemmel. So going to be shaping up for more of that. And, you know, you also talked about Dennis Faircloth earlier, currently running there in the 3rd position. And he's shown his road racing prowess here in BTDY before. He got his first win over in BTDY at Road America too. So, you know, something that it's not really a surprise to see him having a strong night here.
Yeah, not at all. I, you know, had come to expect him being in the top 5 at all of these road course races. It's whether or not, you know, a big mistake happens, or he can just keep it on the racetrack for the whole race, because he does have that raw pace at these types of racetracks. So good to see he's still up here, you know, fighting for this thing after the comp caution. As there we see Ryan Gemmel and the rest of the pack catching up, and the leader's going to be working towards pit lane here in just a moment. But yeah, Dennis, very solid. He comes from, you know, IndyCar fandom in the past, right? He's watched a lot of these races at these tracks, so he has, you know, really good awareness of what the tracks are like, and he's been doing this a while.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely a mainstay here in BTDY. Been around the league for quite a while, as a bunch of these drivers have. But this is going to give everyone the chance to come down pit lane. I don't think we're going to see anybody aside from Ryan Gemmel decide to stay out here. It's like everybody taking this opportunity to come down and get fuel and tires. And of course, that will put the 6 of Gemmel back up to the front. We keep an eye on the race off of pit lane. I think everybody will probably hold serve here. Adam Cabot will be the 2nd place car once this cycles through. Keep an eye on how they come off of pit road here. Is actually Bailey Turner maybe beats his teammate out of the pits. I spoke too soon on that. So that 24 crew gaining a spot on pit road here. That will put Adam Cabot in 3rd after the pit cycle, and then Dennis Faircloth, Seth Hatchell, your top 5.
Yeah, really nice job by Bailey Turner getting in the box cleanly, and 0.3 of a second better there on the pit stop. So really nice work by that crew, and that could make a big difference for Ryan Gemmel as well. You know, his primary competitor, I think, is the 17 tonight, and to have 1 extra car between you and your next closest competition, that's a big deal.
Yeah, the flip side of it is, with the way that the restarts work on iRacing, you'd almost rather have that guy in 2nd, because it's a little bit easier to get a jump when they're on the same row as you, and then maybe the guy in 3rd can follow through and jump the 2nd place driver. But now that's going to give Cabot a chance to restart on the back bumper of Ryan Gemmel, possibly be right there to make a move into turn number 1 if he can time the restart up pretty well. So it's kind of a catch-22. Would you rather have the guy lining up behind you with the possibility of having the extra car in between, or would you rather have him beside you where maybe you could play a little bit of a restart game with him? So we'll see how that works out on this upcoming restart.
Yeah, it looks like we still have the lights on the pace car. Not sure if we'll get a quickie yellow. We're getting pretty close to start-finish line, so I think we'll get the green the next time around. So maybe a good opportunity to hear a quick word from our race sponsors, and we'll be right back with the green flag.
At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
Steel Graphics and Designs creates custom racing wraps and logos built for the real world and iRacing. From bold liveries to clean, professional branding, every design is made to perform on and off the track. Ready to upgrade your look? Contact Steel Graphics and Designs for custom wraps. Visit Steel Graphics and Designs on Facebook to learn more.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park, the KHIO 110 here at Barber. Getting ready to go back. Green lights are off on the pace car. Ryan Gemmel, Bailey Turner, your front row. Adam Cabot, Dennis Faircloth, your second row behind them. We will have 30 laps left in this race once we take the green flag here to settle it out. And I think we're shaping up for a really good battle here between Ryan Gemmel, Adam Cabot, Bailey Turner, Dennis Faircloth as we get down into the final stages of this race. But pace car is off, field in control of the 6 car. Let's get ready to go back green. Ryan Gemmel gets the good launch here. He's able to get away, clear both of those lanes. And a little bit surprising, Adam Cabot was not able to keep up with him there on the restart. So, you know, you called it, Adam. A little bit of a buffer now maybe between your top 2 cars for the majority of the race, but Bailey Turner, he's trying to get that lead away from the 6 of Ryan Gemmel.
Yeah, I think he sees an opportunity. This is the closest he's been to the front as we've got the 00 Braxton DeWeese going around. He's into the guardrail. Not too hard of a hit there. He's going to keep it rolling, but at the front.
Oh, and the 80 of Rob Liedl's around. The 83 of Dennis Faircloth is around also. So a little bit of calamity on the cold tires here on this restart. 3 different drivers around on this first lap. Taking a look first at Dennis Faircloth, and that is, I mean, that's the textbook next-gen spin
that
that
same
we
corner
see right there.
Yeah,
it's all that same corner, like you said.
Let's see what happened to Braxton DeWeese here. He got turned around coming off of the previous corner. And I think it's just coming up over the hill. Car gets light, yep, and then just trying to hang on for dear life.
Yeah, he hits that little bump there on the exit of the turn. As soon as he does, it just snaps the car around. So, yeah, a little bit of calamity here, but everybody able to continue on. Up front, though, the battle for the lead is still going here. Bailey Turner has been putting a ton of pressure on Ryan Gemmel for this race lead. Not quite close enough to make a move. But, I mean, at this point, if you're Bailey Turner, you're maybe just hoping that you can force the 6 of Gemmel into a mistake. There's been times where we've seen him struggling for grip. We've seen the back of that car dancing around a little bit. You make him overdrive just a little. It could be your opportunity. But Bailey Turner now, he's going to take a look as they head down into the turn. Not quite close enough, but there's the mistake. Just like we were talking about, you try to get him to overdrive a little bit. Ryan Gemmel locked it up and gets off track, and that's going to hand the lead to Bailey Turner.
Yeah, just take another look at it here. Ryan goes in deep, I think, anticipating the 24, and actually Bailey did go for a little bobble there. He kind of locked up the rears just a tiny bit, and if Ryan hadn't gone off the racetrack, I think there would have been contact. So Yeah, not great for either driver, as Bailey's now got some pressure from Adam Cabot, but Ryan all the way back to 4th, and he's got his work cut out for him to get up there to the top 2. But Bailey Turner, no slouch on these road courses. We've seen him battle with Brody Hayes time after time, and would not be a shocker to see him come out of here with a win.
No, it would not be a surprise at all. He finally got that first win of the season last week at Rockingham. Now in position trying to go back-to-back here. He definitely doesn't want it to take 9 races to get the second win of the season like it did to get that first one, but he's got a big challenge that's going to be coming from teammate Adam Cabot here. And like you mentioned now, Ryan Gemmel back into the 4th position after that spin, about a little over half a second behind. Actually, I'm sorry, a little over a second rather behind Seth Hatchell for the 3rd position. So he's definitely going to have his work cut out for him to get that recovery as well.
I've been keeping an eye here on Bailey Turner down into turns 1, 2, and 3. He's running a very different line than, Adam Cabot or Ryan Gemmel and some of these other drivers. You'll see when we get back around, but he's approaching some of these corners very differently, and that may just be his, ability in the next gen car, just how he understands it to handle, and the way he's approaching the turn, setting him up for the next set of corners. But both of these guys running, every inch of racetrack they can, and you can see really pointing it down into the corner early to get that car, where you want it to go, and then sometimes the steering a little slow to respond in these Gen 7 machines. So just trying to, get the car pointed in that right direction early on. As we'll get back to turn 1 here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He's been taking just a very different approach to it and sets himself up very nicely for the next set of corners, but very good on this part of the racetrack. You can see shallower there on entry, and then he's got a nice arc into the corner this time. Oh
no! Adam!
Oh man, I built up the curse too long, I think.
Oh man, I just want to go ahead and put myself on record as saying that I had nothing to do with that commentator curse. Oh my gosh, that one's got to go on the not top 10 highlight reel.
I mean, I was talking him up the whole time, the whole lap. Oh, I'm sorry, Bailey, but he did what I expected him to do in turn 1. It's just the car came around in turn 2 because he overshot the entry there, but able to get it back rolling. Loses 3 spots though. He'll fall in right behind Ryan Gemmel, so right back to who he was behind at the start of the run here.
Oh man, that was a page out of the Daniel Cunningham textbook for commentator curses there. So yeah, but still in 4th position, still has a chance to work his way back up through the field. But that gives the lead over to Adam Cabot now here on lap number 19. But Seth Hatchell, he seems like he's kind of figured something out here. He is up in the 2nd position now, just about a second behind Adam Cabot. And, we saw him kind of come on a little bit at the end of that run right before the comp caution, started showing a little bit more speed. We know that Seth shows a lot of speed at, pretty much every racetrack that we go to, and no exception here. Maybe has a little something that he can figure out still to get up there and put some pressure on the current race leader.
Yeah, he has one of the fastest laps of the race. Looking at lap times, he has the 2nd fastest lap overall. This last time he was 1/1000th slower than Adam Cabot, essentially the same lap time. Those guys a 10th faster than Ryan Gemmel and pretty much everyone else in the field. So right now they are on the same level, and we'll have to see if Seth tries anything with a pit strategy. As you see, really wide through the S's there, using every inch of racetrack and then some, but he's got a good beat on the 17.
Yeah, he's got that gap down under 0.8 of a second now. So, just kind of like what we were talking about with Ryan Gemmel and Bailey Turner with their battle. You just put a little bit of pressure on. It's so easy to make a mistake in these next-gen cars at road courses. They're just, in some ways, they're easier to drive. In some ways, they're harder to drive on road courses. It's kind of a confusing machine, to be honest, when you get out there and you try to race these things. But yeah, doing a nice job here as Adam Cabot seems like in the 2nd part of the track does have a little bit more pace and starts to stretch that lead back out. little bit further back here, we've got Dennis Faircloth trying to mount a recovery after that spin we saw a little bit earlier. Currently closing in on Dallas Sullivan for the 6th position, and Sullivan there in the 46, he's got some damage on the right front of that car. I didn't catch exactly how that happened, but it looks, I think he's got some damage on the front of it. Now that I say that, I don't know if it's actually the damage on it or if it's just the way that that headlight outline is on the Fords.
No, he's definitely got a big crinkle there in the right front, so he's made contact with the guardrail at some point, and seems to be doing all right. Lap times look, pretty consistent, I think, with what he has been running. Braxton Dewey's another guy back here, right? He's going to be trying to recover. He's got a little bit of damage from making contact with the guardrail, but doesn't appear to be too heavy. But he's just lost so much time getting pointed in the wrong direction, but he is making gains on Cody Atkins, Michael Jones, and every point is going to matter for him as we're coming up close to the chase, and he's going to try and get himself maybe a spot better or two in the standings.
Yeah, still trying to get every spot that he can, gain every point that he can, and a little bit of a surprise this early here, but Seth Hatchell coming down pit lane here right at the halfway mark. So I would have to think that he's going to do maybe fuel only here and try to run these tires out to the end of the race. I mean, we've only run 8 laps, so I would be surprised if he does take tires.
Yeah,
Michael Jones also on pit road here. So, you called it. You said there might be a little bit of a strategy play. Just 5.9 seconds in the box for Seth Hatchell, so that is absolutely a fuel-only stop for him.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Adam Cabot brings it in here to respond, or if he's going to run it out and take tires and, run a more traditional strategy in that way, as he really sent it into that corner through the S's and nearly got off into the grass, cost him a tenth or two, as Gemmel now up to second with Hatchell coming in. Bailey Turner back onto the podium for the moment. He is really pushing that race car, almost lost the back end that time up over the hill.
Cody Atkins is going around. He's over in the gravel trap right now. He's going to sit and try to let these drivers get by. As you can see, Jake Maki going by there. But another off-road excursion for the Rolling Rock machine. Let's take a look on the replay of what happened with the 55 car here. And I have a feeling this might be kind of a copy and paste of what we've seen a few times. That was a little bit more aggressive of a spin, though, compared to some of the lazier spins that we've seen. So maybe just a little bit more rear brake dialed into it. So it looked like it kind of started to snap right where you would expect to start the braking zone, and get on the brakes a little too hard and just snaps the car around.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. Just a little bit too much brake pressure, and ended up having the back end become the front end, as it doesn't appear that anyone else has brought it down pit road for the moment. Adam Cabot still on the racetrack, about 2.3 seconds ahead of Ryan Gemmel, who's started to close up just a little bit. He was about 0.3 further back at the beginning of the previous lap. Now, just 2.2 seconds. Bailey Turner kind of holding serve right here. He's actually the fastest car on the racetrack, so even after making that mistake, kind of heating the tires up, has found good speed, and maybe got some
really
confidence.
impressive.
Oh.
Adam, you might just want to quit talking about him tonight.
Yeah. Sorry, Bailey.
That's 2 in a row now. Poor Bailey Turner. Sometimes it just seems to work out that way. And, one thing with us following him here that I just noticed is you can actually see in a couple of these turns that there's a pretty substantial amount of gravel and debris that's been pulled out onto the track. So something that these drivers will have to navigate as we get through this run. It's definitely going to cause a loss of grip in those turns where you see that.
Yeah, definitely not helping things as they come up over the crest here. That is, you can hear Chris lift off the throttle and then really hard on the downshifts and all the way down to first gear through this set of corners. And you can see getting back on the throttle. Big bobble there for him as the tires continue to heat up. Also battle behind them. Dennis Faircloth has gotten by Dallas Sullivan finally, so Dennis back into the top 5 for the moment. And keeping an eye on Seth Hatchell. He's running consistent lap times with the race leader, you know, top 5. So we'll have to see how this works out for him with a short pit stop like that. He hasn't lost any pace, you know, by putting additional fuel in it. Might have just cut his time on pit road down by quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see how this works out. The one thing that Seth has going for him is that he was able to get out on track where he had some clean racetrack. So, you know, he doesn't have to contend with lap traffic or just working his way around other cars. He's currently got about 4 seconds up the road to Braxton DeWeese before he has to deal with any traffic. And, I mean, it'd be a good possibility that depending on when he gets there, that it might be about time for the 00 to hit pit lane anyway, and he won't actually have to worry about that part of it. So, yeah, just looking at the lap times right now, last time around, Adam Cabot ran a 1:26.67. I have to see what Seth Hatchell's lap time was, because that was actually a pretty big pickup there for Adam Cabot compared to what his last few laps had been. It's actually within 1/10 of a second of his fastest lap of the race on that one. And that's on about 11 lap old tires there as well. And Seth Hatchell still running pretty consistent lap times, but yeah, at that pace, it's still going to be a tight battle off of pit road if Adam Cabot decides to end up taking 4 tires. If he can keep that pace up, he might actually be right on the back bumper of Seth Hatchell, or pretty much side by side with him when they exit pit lane.
Other thing to think about.
Bailey Turner with another off-road excursion. Sorry, not to cut you off there, Adam. I just saw him make another trip through the gravel trap there, taking a little shortcut there just momentarily, but doesn't look like he lost any positions on track. Still running in 3rd, just ahead of Chris Samard after that.
Yeah, and I think Chris had a mistake of his own as well, because he was getting pretty close to the back of the 24. So obviously both of them making mistakes here, and that's something that, you know, is still very much a possibility for our leaders. This is not a track that you've got a lot of time on, right? I mean, this is probably the most laps they've ever run for most of these drivers, and so that consistency is still not there. I mean, even Adam Cabot, he's varying lap times by, you know, a half a second at a time, you know, lap after lap. So it shows, you know, you can make a little slip up mentally as the run goes on. The tires get, you know, more worn. Nice thing about Seth Hatchell pitting early, he didn't take those tires or have cold tires to maybe make an early run slip up, and that would cost him even more time. So he's able to go back out with the same level of heat in the tires and, you know, just a little bit more fuel, so the balance stays relatively the same. So it could be interesting to see if Adam Cabot does come in and just put fuel in, what does that change about the car?
Yeah, and that is one of the big things with this next gen is it just doesn't turn very well. It doesn't stop very well on those cold tires. So, you know, that's really the biggest area where if you're going to see a mistake, it's going to be most likely that first lap or two out of the pits. You just push just a little bit too hard. And speaking of pushing hard, the 00 Braxton DeWeese, he had just came down for his pit stop and is now on the back bumper of Cody Atkins here for the 8th position. Does have a tire advantage. Looks like he did. Actually, no, let me take that back. It looks like he did fuel only on his stop as well, just 6.7 seconds in the box. So even tires between these two drivers right now. But 00's had some pretty good pace. We'll have to see if he's able to find a way to get around Cody Atkins before he comes down for his final stop.
Yeah, definitely having a solid run, even with the spin early in this stint. You know, it's got a top 5, top 6 car, and that's kind of all that I think he was looking for when it comes to the road courses. He had said it's not something he's super comfortable with, but you know, ran well when we went to Motorsports, and having a solid enough run here tonight, keeping himself in the hunt for that championship lead as Cody Atkins, with a huge slide in front of him, is going to hand that position over.
Yeah, Cody Atkins did a nice job of hanging on to it there and not losing any additional time on top of what he did lose there. But yeah, that was a big slide, and I'll be honest, that's one that you don't normally see drivers save. I mean, once this car gets sideways, you're usually just along for the ride, but does a nice job of hanging on to it there.
Yeah, really nice job, and keeps himself in the hunt for a top 10 finish with a not wrecked race car. So always happy to get away with something like that. It's Ryan Gemmel coming through the same spot. You can see everybody struggling as the car gets light through there. And Adam Cabot is just extending his lead over the rest of this field. I mean, he's putting down fantastic lap times, over a second faster than Ryan Gemmel. Everybody else much closer to a high 127. He ran a 127.1. So, yeah, nearly a second faster than the majority of this field.
Yeah, and even just looking at his lap times compared to Seth Hatchell, he's running anywhere from about 4 to 5/10 of a second per lap faster than the 8 car. So, yeah, it's still going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but it's not looking as promising for the 8 of Seth Hatchell here. I mean, I still like the play. I still like the call, trying to come down, take fuel only, get that final stop out of the way, see what you can do with some clean air and clean racetrack. But it just seems like the longer that we go in this race, the more comfortable Adam Cabot is getting with the racetrack and getting more familiar with it, able to make some good time. As we can see there, Chris Samard, it looks like, going to give up the 4th position, come down and make his final stop of the race.
And Cody Adkins has brought it in as well. He's currently 1 lap down. Not sure if there's some damage on that car, but looks like he's going to be getting service, an extended stay in pit road. So I'm not sure what happened to Cody after that big save, that big moment that he had. But he's going to be on pit road now for a little bit. And it looks like Seth will be able to get by the 77 of Chris Samard, and he'll put a good distance between himself and his teammate there. So another position back in the hands of the number 8. And then, yeah, Dennis Faircloth up inside the top 5 once again.
And just looking at the lap times, last time by, Seth Hatchell ran a 128.50. So possibly a mistake or something on that last lap by the 8 car. And just Adam Cabot able to stretch that delta over him just a little bit there on that previous lap. So right now, it's looking like another dominant performance out of the 17. Ryan Gemmel, though, still running in 2nd. Bailey Turner still fighting in the 3rd position. Dennis Faircloth now back up into the 4th spot. But here comes Ryan Gemmel. He's going to go ahead and make his final stop. And that's going to hand over the 2nd position to Bailey Turner now.
Interesting to see when these guys are deciding to pit. Ryan is coming in at a time. We'll see if he takes tires. Michael Jones, Jake Maki, Rob Liedl, who have brought it in, have all taken tires, on their last pit stop. A few drivers yet to come in, though, is Adam Cabot, Bailey Turner, Dennis Faircloth, and then Dallas Sullivan as well have not brought it in. Everybody else either on pit road already or parked for the night. Thomas Brendel still sitting, getting damage repaired, I believe, as well as Cody Adkins. So just 9 cars left on the lead lap. Dallas is starting to close in on Dennis Faircloth.
Yeah, and those 2 drivers, they seem pretty even on pace right now. Of course, we saw the spin that Dennis Faircloth had. Dallas Sullivan with still that little bit of damage on the right front of that car. And it just seems like they kind of trade, I don't want to say they trade mistakes, but that's basically what's going on. One lap, you'll see Dallas Sullivan will lock the tires up, have a big slide. Next lap, Dennis Faircloth will kind of do the same thing, have a big moment somewhere. So just kind of a bit of a back and forth between those 2. Seth Hatchell now just about 4 seconds behind them as well. So he's starting to close in. And of course, those 2 drivers ahead of him, actually all 4 ahead, still needing to make that final pit stop here. So still some spots on offer for the 8 as well.
And taking a look at lap times again, Adam Cabot 127.4 to Seth Hatchell's 127.3 this last time. So Seth actually gaining a 10th back. And looking at the time on pit road, as we see Bailey Turner bring it in, and he's getting tires put on. Seth Hatchell's already gone past him, and Bailey still has 2 more tires to put on, so that is a good sign for the number 8 machine to find himself about 10 to 15 seconds ahead of Bailey Turner. So that's,
and it makes sense if you're going to take tires that this is about the time that you would pit. We went back green with just under, or just over rather, 30 laps to go. So kind of splitting this run in half, doing 2 15-lap stints. You know, the longer that Adam Cabot stays out, the more that would lead me to believe he's probably going to do fuel only, I would have to believe.
yeah, we'll see what he elects to do. Doesn't appear to be bringing it in this time. He'll bypass pit road one more time. Put down a nice lap, I believe. Here we'll see at the line what the official time is. But yeah, back in the 126s with that one. Very nice lap on nearly 20 lap old tires. So yeah, continuing to find speed somewhere on this racetrack with the old tires and lower fuel load.
Yeah, doing a really nice job. He's the only driver that last time by still in the 126s as far as lap time goes. Even the other drivers that are on fresher tires not matching that pace, although Seth Hatchell only 3/10 off. So, I mean, still putting together some really solid lap times there as well. But yeah, I would have to think if we're going to see tires going on the 17, it would have to be in the next lap or two. If you're waiting longer than that, you're probably not going to have enough time to put them to good use to try to get back up there and retake the race lead. And, you know, just based off of where Bailey Turner came out, it's about 12 seconds back of the 8 of Seth Hatchell. So, I mean, that would put, even with tires, that would put Adam Cabot basically door to door with Seth Hatchell when they come out of the pits.
Yeah, taking a look where Bailey came out. He's about 4 seconds behind Ryan Gemmel, who's about 7.5 seconds behind Seth at the moment. So, good recovery drive for Ryan after he had his mistake. He hasn't really, you know, stepped the tire wrong since then. Putting down some nice laps. That was one of the fastest, if not, yeah, I believe that was the 3rd fastest lap of the race he just ran. So finding good pace once again after starting on the pole. And up in front of him, saw somebody go for a big slide there. That may have been Thomas Brindle.
I think it was actually the 80 of Rob Liedl. So yeah, it looks like he had a bit of a moment over there where he had spun, but able to get it back on track and pointed in the right direction. Take a look on the replay here. Maybe it was the 34. I think there was 2 separate incidents that maybe happened at the same time there, because that is definitely Thomas Brindle, like you had mentioned. Pretty significant hit to the front of that car and just tows it back to pit lane. And there was another moment that I saw where the 80 did spin. That may have been a lap or 2 before that.
Yeah, he's got a bit of damage on the nose of that car. Some contact at some point. But still out here running just outside the top 10. He's got about 30 seconds up to Jake Mockey, who holds that last spot in the top 10. Both those drivers have made their final pit stop of the race. Still waiting for Adam Cabot to bring it in as he works back towards the start-finish line. Just over 10 laps to go for him. And still putting down great lap times that time. Not quite as quick as he had been, 127.6. But matching what Seth Hatchell ran the lap prior. So kind of doing what he needs to do to maintain.
Yeah, still a really solid pace. Really solid laps that he's putting together. It looks like Dennis Faircloth is going to bring it down pit lane here. Just over 10 laps to go. This will be his final stop of the night as well for the 83 car. And just taking a look out on track, Bailey Turner now right on the back bumper of Chris Samard trying to find a way through. Chris actually just had a big slide off of that final turn back onto the front straightaway. Bailey Turner now looking to the inside. He's going to be able to get around for that 5th position. So that'll put him back up into the top 5 now. And still with Dallas Sullivan and Adam Cabot needing to make their final stop of the race.
Yeah, Chris actually just took fuel only So he's kind of on a similar strategy to his teammate, but pitted, at a different time in the run. So the balance may be a bit different than what he was expecting. And a moment there, I think, for Ryan Gemmel, as Bailey Turner is right on the back bumper now. So this will be the battle for probably the runner-up spot in this race. And let's see if we can go back and find out what happened to Ryan. I think he just overcooked it, a little similar to what we saw before. Yeah, where
that was a big lockup.
So where he was being pressured by Bailey Turner for the race lead earlier on in the second part of this race. That's the same spot. He made that mistake this time without the pressure, but he's going to have the 24 right on the back again.
Yeah, that will that'll get that battle tightened back up a little bit here as Adam Cabot finally making the trip down pit lane. And he is going to come out behind Seth Hatchell. Adam Cabot electing to take tires on that stop. It was a 4-tire stop. A little surprised he waited that long to take 4 tires. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. He's about 5 seconds back now of Seth Hatchell. And this could be shaping up to be a pretty big battle to the end here as Hatchell now closing up on the back bumper of Dallas Sullivan. We know that Dallas is still going to have to make his final stop of the race. And if you're Seth Hatchell, you've got to try to get around that 46 as quick as possible and get back to having clean racetrack as he goes off track here. Big lockup.
Oh,
That's
man.
not what you want if you're Seth Hatchell. That is going to cost him a ton of time. Still able to stay ahead of Adam Cabot. Had a big enough gap, but now that gap is down to about 4 seconds over his next closest challenger.
Yeah, maybe he was just paying a little bit too much attention to the relative there as he was closing up on Dallas Sullivan. And Dallas out here has not led a lap just yet, but that would be pretty cool for him to get a lap led tonight. But Seth on this kind of alternate strategy, see what he's able to do with his lap times once he gets kind of back, settled down here. Compared to that of the 17 on the cold tires, the gap is now down to about 3.5 seconds between these two after that mistake.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that Seth Hatchell's going to be fighting here for the next few turns is just you get off track like that, you get all that debris, the dirt, the gravel on your tires. It takes a little bit to get them cleaned back off and get that grip back to where you need it at. So, the quicker that he can do that and kind of get himself recomposed here, better he'll be suited to be able to try to fend off this challenge. But now Adam Cabot has the lead, has that gap cut down under 3 seconds. So it's going to be a tall order, especially with the pace that we've seen out of that 17 all evening. Once he's able to get some heat in the tires, it's going to be difficult to keep him behind you.
He'll have to make his way past the 13 of Jake Mockey, who's just a little bit off the pace right now on older tires compared to the 17, but also I think a little bit of damage on the 13. He's not just going to pull over, though. He's fighting up in front of him here and going to run off the racetrack right in front of the 17, so that actually makes it a little easier for Cabot, who is pushing the issue right now. I mean, he is really pushing that race car, trying to get back up to Seth Hatchell. The margin down to just about 2 seconds, and there's nobody between them.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the lap times at the line this time around. Seth Hatchell, 1:27.83. Adam Cabot, a 1:26.34, his fastest lap of the race, and I believe that is actually the fastest lap of the race as well. So he's definitely turned the wick up here at the end of this one, trying to get back up there to the 8 of Seth Hatchell. We'll see how the dirty air plays a factor once he gets in that wake of the 8 car. But he has got plenty of time to get up there. Dallas Sullivan continuing to lead, still needing to make that final stop of the race. I wouldn't think that anybody can make it to the end, but, if there's anybody who would be willing to try, it's Dallas Sullivan.
Yeah, and he's still running pretty respectable lap times, with a car that's damaged. And, compared to his fastest laps of the race, I mean, he's well within range of that. And man, Adam Cabot really on a mission here, under a second between these two, and Seth probably just counting the moments until the 17 is there. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's two car lengths.
he is reeling them in really, really quickly. He is right there on the back bumper of the 8 now as they get ready to head back onto this main straightaway. It is going to take a Herculean effort out of the 8 to be able to hold him off, especially with that tire disadvantage. Adam Cabot now closed in to within 3 car lengths of Seth Hatchell. He's right there. He's thinking about maybe putting a little bumper to him, but not quite. The pressure is on, though, and what will eventually turn out to be the race for the lead.
Yeah, and the longer that Seth tries to hold him off, maybe the closer that Ryan Gemmel and Bailey Turner end up getting. But it's, yeah, there's just no contest. The 17 goes to the inside. Hatchell trying to fight back on the outside. Might still have a nose in there. No, the 17 going to shut the door. This is still not the race lead as Dallas Sullivan, another car to get through for Adam Cabot. But seems all but inevitable.
Oh, a little mistake there out of the 17. He locked up the right front through that little S section there. Let Seth Hatchell close back in momentarily, but just so much more grip with those fresher tires when he gets on the loud pedals. Oh no, Dallas Sullivan hard into the guardrail directly in front of these drivers. And man, what a disappointing moment for the 46. He was running so well up there in the lead. And we'll take a look here on the replay. I think he fell victim to that bump that we've seen a few other drivers have issues with here this evening.
It's just coming over the curb. It looks
like, no, that was the curbing.
I was worried for a moment he was going to come back across and catch Seth Hatchell there in the side, and then there's also these other cars behind, but he's got heavy damage to the suspension to the right of that race car. So unfortunate way for this one to end for Dallas, having a solid race.
Yeah, you hate to see that for the 46 there. It's like you said, he had a really solid night here overall. And you had even mentioned it before that incident, was putting together some really respectable lap times on the fuel load and the tires that he was on. So yeah, definitely a tough way to end it, but good battle for position here. This is for the final podium spot between Ryan Gemmel and Bailey Turner. These two seem like they've kind of been attached at the hip here this evening, using every inch of the racetrack and then some, going through the grass just a little bit there through that section, making these cars as wide as possible, trying to make the track as wide as possible as well.
Yeah, road course racing is interesting in stock cars because you are affected by the aero, maybe not as much as some other types of racing. And you know, there's really kind of one preferred way around most corners in a stock car, but you can see a little different approach right there for Bailey Turner through the second or the last couple of corners on the racetrack. But yeah, not able to close up anymore on Ryan Gemmel as they work back towards turn number 1.
Yeah, Bailey Turner still kind of taking that unique line that you had talked about earlier through this portion of the racetrack. And I think it helps him out even a little bit more when he is in traffic like this or trying to close in on someone to make a pass, because he's able to keep some clean air on the front of that car just a little bit longer with running that line versus the more traditional, we'll call it, line. And he's able to stay right on the back bumper of the 6 of Ryan Gemmel. Both of these drivers did take tires on their last stop, so no tire disadvantage really for either of them. And even with this battle going on, they're slowly starting to close in a little bit on Seth Hatchell. So this could be a 3-car battle for position for the last 2 podium spots here momentarily.
Yeah, and this is a pretty impressive drive for the 6 and the 24. They both made mistakes in this race, and they're up here fighting for a podium finish, and really not far behind Adam Cabot, as Seth Hatchell has just gone off the racetrack a little bit in front of them. So that gap closes up even more now. It's just about 2 or 3 car lengths to Ryan Gemmel.
Yeah, they are starting to close in relatively quickly here on the 8 of Seth Hatchell. And again, going to be a tall order to hold off those fresher tires as we get down to 5 laps to go here at Barber Motorsports Park. And it's been a good one, you know, even with a little bit smaller field. We've seen a lot of side-by-side racing, seen a lot of good battles for position. And so far, just another dominant performance for Adam Cabot, closing in on 30 laps led, and led over 2/3 of this race here.
Yeah, and Seth Hatchell, even though he was kind of in the position to inherit the race lead, never did because Dallas Sullivan had not brought it down pit road. So Seth still not led a lap, but up here in the top 5 all race long. Ryan Gemmel started on the pole. He led the opening lap and then kind of got shuffled out, made a mistake after he re-inherited the lead. Right now running in that 3rd position. Bailey Turner also has led a few laps after he got by the 6 machine kind of in the mid portion of this race. But then he made a mistake, and really the only driver to not make any kind of major mistake is the one leading the race. Very different from the last time we were at a road course.
Yeah, the last time we were at a road course, I mean, he may not have won the show, but he was the show. A little bit of everything there with the 17 of Adam Cabot. But right now, Bailey Turner trying to put on a show along with Ryan Gemmel. These two drivers, I mean, they are going at it still for this 3rd position. Seen Bailey Turner sideways a few times. He's looking to the inside of Gemmel, maybe just a little bit of contact there off the final turn. That's going to give him a drag race down this front straightaway. We'll see if Bailey Turner is able to outbrake Ryan Gemmel, or if we might have a replay of what happened between these two earlier. I don't think Gemmel is going to very easily yield this position to the 24. Still looking to the inside, still side by side on corner exit.
Wow, what a battle, door to door, up over the hill. Looks like Bailey's going to have the preferred line into the corner, but Ryan could pull a little bit of a crossover. 24, though, going to park it right in the center of the turn. Ryan can't get back to him.
Oh,
a little
big
tire
slide
spin
out of the 24. Oh, he was able to hang on to it and keep position, though. Ryan Gemmel was right there trying to put the pressure on to jump back to his inside. A slight bobble out of the 24, but he still holds the position. But here comes Gemmel back on the back bumper of Bailey Turner. He's not done fighting for this one yet.
Yeah, these guys are really pushing it right now. I would not be surprised to see a little mistake by either of them as they use all of the runoff right there. And they're all trying to catch up to Seth Hatchell while this is going on, and they are closing just a tiny bit. Although with the way that they've been battling, I think they lost a little bit on this lap.
Yeah, Seth Hatchell is loving what he's seeing in the mirror right now. He's hoping that they would keep racing each other that hard for a little bit longer, because they both do have that tire advantage over him. But now a little bit of a gap between Turner and Gemmel, and Bailey Turner trying to set his sights on Seth Hatchell for P2 overall. And yeah, I mean, we'll see if he burned his tires up or maybe got him a little overheated trying to make that pass for position. But as it stands, Bailey Turner already starting now to close in on that 8 car.
Yeah, he is right there, just 2 car lengths in the mirror. And he's going to take a peek down low, try and force a mistake from the 8 machine. As we see some smoke on the racetrack. That may have been, I think Dennis Fairclough had an incident. He's gone now all the way back to 10th place, a lap down. So I'm not sure all of the incidents that the 83s had here since we've been focused on this battle, but has lost a couple of spots. Hatchell under heavy pressure downhill there, but gets back to the throttle nicely and actually able to extend the gap by a car length.
Yeah, and all of these drivers keep locking up that right front as they go through that S section right there. Just when the car unloads and they're already under braking, I don't even know if the right front's making contact with the track through that portion, but it's really impressive as Bailey Turner gets off track just a little bit. A mistake there out of the 24. That's going to cost him some ground to Seth Hatchell, and here comes Ryan Gemmel now right back on the back bumper. That mistake is going to put him under fire for P3.
It seems that last corner always kind of filters cars out. They're not really able to close in on each other. You're kind of waiting on the timing of the car in front of you to get back to the throttle. But here we go, another little different approach into turn 1 and 2 for Bailey Turner. Almost got to the inside. Seth Hatchell, though, defensive enough as he comes up over the crest.
Gemmel goes around.
Wow, and Hatchell almost spun out, but Gemmel losing it there on the crest again. We'll have a battle down in the next corner, and Hatchell overcooks it.
Yeah, it looks like he locked up the right front tire, getting down into that turn. It allows Bailey Turner to get to the inside, but mean, a little bit of chaos there for the VSPEED teammates, starting first with the spin here from Ryan Gemmel. Corner exit there, just gets off into the grass and kicks the car around, makes some slight contact with the guardrail, able to get it back rolling in the 4th position. And then Seth Hatchell here taking a bit of a defensive line, trying to keep that bottom lane blocked from the 24 Bailey Turner. Just a little bit heavy on the brakes, trying to make that shallow entry work, locks up the right front, and that allows Turner to get through for P2, and now starting to pull away from the 24 or from the 8 of Seth Hatchell. And I think that may be all she wrote for that battle for the 2nd position. But back up at the front of the field, Adam Cabot has taken the white flag. 1 to go here at Barber Motorsports Park. Just needs one more clean lap. He's got plenty of gap behind him for P2. He's got clean racetrack out in front. Everything you're looking for here as he looks to bring home another dominant win.
Yeah, and looking to add to that points lead, and already very secure in making it to the chase. I believe he's essentially locked in. We haven't done the exact math on that, but I would assume he's locked in after all of the wins and performances that he's had so far this season. And once again, Magic Man getting it done.
Yeah, just, I mean, what else can you say about him? Just, this would be win number 5 in the first 10 races, 50% clip. He's had wins already this season at Kentucky, North Wilkesboro, Milwaukee, and Las Vegas. And just a few turns away from adding Barber, adding a road course to that list here this evening. Comes through the last little section of the track here. Gets by the pit entry. Just one more set of turns to go. And it'll be all Adam Cabot for win number 5 of the season. Back onto the front straightaway. Adam Cabot is going to be your winner here in the KHIO 110 at Barber Motorsports Park.
And exiting the final corner, Bailey Turner able to hold on to 2nd. Hatchell was trying to close back up. He'll come home the final step of the podium in 3rd place. Ryan Gemmel working his way around as well. Looks like he should be able to come home in the 4th spot. And then Chris Samard about 12.5 more seconds behind. Should round out the top 5. Going to be a little while till all of our lead lap cars are back around. As I think that's an accurate display of how he's feeling right now.
Yeah, I can understand the frustration. He definitely had a lot of speed tonight, and race did not necessarily play out the way he was anticipating. As I think I just saw Jake Mockey do the exact same thing going down into turn number 1. But your race winner, Adam Cabot, in the 17, another dominant performance for him. While he goes and does his victory lap, gets that celebration going, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break here. Let you hear from our great league sponsors. We'll be right back to catch a word from our top 3 finishers.
At Cynthia Rogers, MD Dermatology, we specialize in providing comprehensive expert care for the full spectrum of skin conditions, from complex skin diseases and skin cancer to aging concerns and aesthetic needs. With decades of combined experience in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology, our team brings both deep clinical knowledge and a patient-first approach to every visit. Our practice focuses on developing personalized treatment plans tailored to each individual's skin, health, and life stage. We're located in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the PSL Professional Center. Learn more or schedule a visit at floridaskindoctor.com.
Steel Graphics and Designs creates custom racing wraps and logos built for the real world and iRacing. From bold liveries to clean, professional branding, every design is made to perform on and off the track. Ready to upgrade your look? Contact Steel Graphics and Designs for custom wraps. Visit Steel Graphics and Designs on Facebook to learn more.
Backed by 70 years of experience, Duncan Water Systems specializes in commercial and residential water system testing, design, installation, and maintenance. Our mission at Duncan Water Systems is to provide high-quality water solutions to every customer. We pride ourselves on being responsive, honest, and customer-oriented. Our priority is safer water for you and your family. Contact us via call, text, email, or visit us at duncanwatersystems.com.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park. Go ahead and take a look at our full race results here this evening. Let you know where your favorite driver finished. Of course, coming home with the win, Adam Cabot here this evening. Teammate Bailey Turner comes home in second. Seth Hatchell rounding out your podium. We'll hear from those three drivers here in just a moment. Brian Gemmell comes home in the fourth position. Chris Samard, solid run for him in fifth. Braxton DeWeese finishes in the sixth position. Michael Jones, I mean, we didn't really talk about him a whole lot here this evening. It's kind of a quiet night, but he's able to grind out a seventh place finish here. Last car on the lead lap this evening. Jake Bakke comes home in eighth. Dennis Faircloth in ninth. Rob Liedl rounds out your top 10. Dallas Sullivan going to finish in the 11th position after leading a few laps. Saw that contact he had with the wall. Cody Adkins comes home in 12th, and rounding out the field here this evening, Thomas Brendel in the 13th position. Let's go ahead and get a word from our podium finishers, starting with third place, Seth Hatchell. Seth, this is Daniel and Adam up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Man, really solid run tonight. It seemed like there were times that you showed pace that you could run with anybody out there on the track. This place is a relative unknown with the next gen car, at least. What was it like just trying to figure out this track, and what seemed to be the biggest challenge out there tonight?
Yeah, I never really run this track before, but honestly, it was pretty fun. Definitely was working on like normal next gen stuff, just working on braking. Messed a lot with the master cylinders and stuff like that compared to like where we ran at Canadian Tire, what was it, a month or so ago. And felt like my pace was a lot closer than what it was there. There, Adam was just lights out, like seconds quicker than I was. Tonight, he was maybe only 1 second quicker than I was. But yeah, happy with the pace. Took no tires on that last green flag pit stop, just trying to see if something would work out, if guys would get together and maybe net me a couple seconds, but ultimately just didn't have enough turn in the car there at the end, and guys were just flying by me. But overall, happy with another top three. Just keep plugging away, and we'll get a win one of these weeks.
Well, you talked a little bit about the pit stops and the pit strategy. We documented during the race that you were trying something a little bit different. You pitted early, did that fuel only stop after the comp caution. Was that kind of the plan going into the night, or was that just I don't want to say wing it call, but was it planned, or were you just trying to maybe do something a little bit different to see if you could jump that 17 car?
A little bit of both, honestly. It works sometimes at other tracks, especially where you have longer straightaways that really cools the tires down. Here, you just have so many high-speed corners; it really just cooks the front. But definitely, like if I would have been leading, that makes it a lot easier decision of taking tires because you can make that time up a bit easier. But going into the sequence, I was just so far back. It was a bit of a wing it moment to see what happened. I knew I wasn't going to fall too far if it didn't work. Probably fourth at worst if Ryan didn't have a issue there. So we're just trying something there, and happy to come away with third place.
Still really solid run for you. Another podium finish here, and just improving that points position. So before we let you go, Seth, who do you want to thank or shout out for this one?
I want to thank you guys doing a great job with the broadcast. Got to thank KHIO hopping on board for the race tonight, and all the sponsors that hop on for the league. Cody, all the admins doing a great job setting up this league for everybody. All the fans watching at home, hope they got to see a good race, and my team VSPEED.
All right, well, there you have it from third place, Seth Hatchell. Congrats again. We will see you next week at Martinsville.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
It's our third place finisher. And I believe, Adam, you have caught up with our second place finisher, Bailey Turner.
Yep, Bailey, this is Adam and Daniel in the VSPEED booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, second place here tonight. You led some laps and you used the intimidate button a couple times there in turn 5. A couple guys running off track in front of you, but wild race here at Barber. Just describe, running here in the next gen machines and coming home here in second tonight.
Yeah, I hadn't had any laps here at all until last night. I couldn't even string together 5 laps. And yeah, just the car is so on edge, and it's so tempting to push it, but you step over the line just a little bit, and as you saw, I had, I think, 2 lazy spins and a nice shot through the gravel trap in the race, and still came home P2. So I think that kind of says what kind of race this was. But yeah, I think I don't know if there was some bias differences with the brakes and everything going into some of the corners. I just felt really comfortable into those hard braking zones with what the bias Adam and I were running, and like you said, kind of hit that intimidate button a couple times, but I think I hit it on myself a couple times as well. So yeah, unfortunate. I wanted to once I got the lead there and Adam was kind of at bay, and we were kind of managing a gap, I thought, okay, we might have a chance here, and yeah, just pushed it into turn 2 just a little bit harder than I should, and kind of locked the right front up just barely, and that was enough for that kind of slow, lazy spin with the back end, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll say I can't complain with a P2, especially a track that we hadn't been to until last night. So happy about that. Happy for the teammate to get a win, but looking to try to get back there in victory lane at some point.
Yeah, you got your first win of the season last week. You come home second here tonight. We do go to Martinsville next week and closing in on the chase. How are you feeling about going out there?
Yeah, I mean, that's my all-time favorite track. So I'm always really excited to head to Martinsville. I feel like if we can actually get some long runs in, it really shows who's talented with managing their stuff, and brake by working the brakes and different things like that throughout the run. And yeah, I mean, I've had some success here in BTDY at Martinsville. I also had some heartbreak. So hopefully I'm looking at, if we can manage to get a 100-lap run in the race, that would be fantastic, because that's when I feel the most comfortable. I really, maybe I'll struggle with a little bit with the takeoff speed, and I think I've seen that in the past there, but, one of my favorite places if you can go on a long run.
Yeah, that's sometimes a rare, phenomenon if we get a long run there, but, BTDY, a good league as any to have a good long green flag run. But second place here tonight for you, Bailey. Started 4th, led 4 laps on your way to that runner-up. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, we'll start out with you guys, obviously, in the broadcast booth. It'll be fun to kind of go back and watch all my mistakes tonight. And congrats to Adam, the teammate. Wish we had some of the other teammates here tonight. Obviously, thank you to all the league sponsors and admins for putting this together, even with the the lower car count. The guys are still coming out here and making this a fun time. So appreciate them.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun. And you weren't the only ones making mistakes. I think everybody made some mistakes out there. So you'll have fun watching everyone slip up.
Appreciate
it. Yeah, great job out there, and we'll catch you next week.
Appreciate it.
That's your second place finisher, Bailey Turner, and we're going to go now to Victory Lane with Adam Cabot.
Hey, Adam, this is Daniel and Adam up the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, I would just like to point out before I even ask any questions that I made you my pick to win tonight based solely off of Motorsport, because, I mean, you were just lightning fast there, and you gave us plenty to talk about. You gave us plenty to talk about tonight, too, just with how well you were running. But, does this feel like it's a little bit of redemption after the way that Motorsport went?
It honestly does. I mean, you could probably see on the restarts, I took a very opposite strategy of Motorsport, where I was just kind of going balls out on cold tires and making stupid mistakes. I really didn't want to do that tonight, and I felt like I was quick enough that, especially Motorsport show, I'm like, if I just didn't make like multiple stupid mistakes, I felt like I could win. So I knew that Ryan was fast, I knew Bailey was fast, and I kind of just let them have at it on that restart after the stage, because I felt like there was so much time to gain driving this car on the edge, which is cool, which is fun, but it's like such a razor's edge of going too far, making a mistake. So yeah, I felt like I was really good in the long run with saving the tires, so I just wanted to get through that first like 5 or 6 laps and then start pushing, because that's where I felt like I was the best. And Luckily, the rest of the guys kind of made it easy on me, just making mistakes around me. I I made one big mistake, which could have ended my race and was really bad. I could not decide whether or not I wanted to take tires or not. I was so on the fence because I felt like both strategies could work, and I'm like, well, I've got a big enough lead. I think I cannot take tires. Then the front really would not turn, so I was like, maybe I should. And the problem was, I just started overthinking it, and I forgot that I was driving a race car, and just went straight in the hairpin and literally forgot to brake, and almost Jimmy Johnson's at Watkins Glen style. Um, Thankfully, the sand trap slowed me down and didn't flip me over this time, which was nice. And got stopped before the barrier, got back on the track. And at that point, I was really mad at myself because I didn't know, because everyone pipped so much earlier than me, I didn't know how big of a lead I had. So I thought that I probably threw away the race there. I ended up taking tires just because they were already checked and I didn't feel like I was checking them. Like it really was like that much of a toss of the coin to me. And I was really glad that I took them at the end because I feel like if I didn't take them, I would maybe only come out like a couple of seconds ahead of Dallas and Seth, or maybe around about the same spot, and it would have been much more difficult. It was nice coming out on fresh tires, seeing two guys in front of me who weren't, and just knowing as long as I didn't make a mistake, I would probably have this one.
We definitely made it work tonight. And next week to me is another bit of an unknown because we head to Martinsville with this new aero package that they have for the short tracks, the high horsepower. So with heading to Martinsville next week, we know how chaotic that place can get. How are you feeling about that one? You feel like you can get win number 6 there?
Well, I'm going to quote Tyler Reddick and say that hell's really frozen over if I go out and win Martinsville. That's I forget exactly what he said, something along those lines. But yeah, Martinsville is not a good track for me. Bailey's really fast there. He's always been so good there. So I would look for him next week, and hopefully I can get up there and contend. Like I'm not terrible there, but I've never won a race there, and I've never been the fastest car. But like you said, there's a lot of changes. It's Martinsville; anything can happen. So I don't know. I'll have to wait and see.
Definitely see how it plays out. But congrats again on another really strong performance, another dominant win. Before we let you go, who do you want to thank or shout out for this one?
You know what? Shout out to the admins because I know it's kind of controversial putting a new track that pretty much nobody owns on the schedule you have to go out and buy. But I really, of course, I'm biased. I won the race, but like even before I ran a single lap on the track, I was commending them for that because I think it's a lot of fun to go to a new track and learn it for the first time. Like a couple days ago, you're just every corner on this track's a blind corner, so I'm flying off the track trying to learn it. But it's a really, really fun road course, and I don't think it's a big ask to ask people to buy one track, right? Like if it's like you don't want to go to like 5 or 6 new tracks, but one new track, I think that's cool. So unfortunately, only 13 people showed up, so I'm probably in the minority there. But I had a fun time, and I'm always down to try out new tracks.
Well, congrats again on the win, Adam. And again, just a really strong season here for you. And we will see you next week at Martinsville.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There you have it from our top 3 finishers here this evening. And I got to echo what Adam Cabot said there. It's always controversial when you go to a new track like this, especially one that NASCAR doesn't go to. But I applaud the admins for trying something different. It seemed like the drivers that ran had a lot of fun with it, and it put on a lot of moments for us to talk about here tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure a few of them had a lot of fun, and a few of them didn't have much fun. But yeah, I always love exploring new racetracks. It's a good opportunity with a league like this to go out there and do that. And this is something we've never seen. I've never seen these cars on this racetrack, but definitely a very fun and interesting course. And I'm in agreement with Mr. Cabot there about trying something new each season. I think it's not too much to ask to have one new racetrack or something a little unusual at least. But yeah, a lot of fun here tonight.
Definitely was. And next week is going to be a good one as well as we head to Martinsville, going to the Paperclip, one of my favorite tracks. I know sometimes it gets a little bit of hate in league races because it can get chaotic, but I think it's definitely a good one. Kind of like what Bailey Turner was saying, you get some long green flag runs, really shows who can manage their equipment. And we will be right there next week here on VSPEED to bring you every lap of the action. But that's going to do it for our coverage tonight. So on behalf of all the admins here at BTDY, for everybody at VSPEED, including Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, of course, you as well up here, Adam. Appreciate you running the double duty as always. And as always, thank you to Dougie Beard for those camera angles. My name's Daniel Cunningham. Join us next week as we head down to my home state, Virginia. Race number 11 of the season. Just 2 races to go before the playoffs. We're going to see who can bring home that grandfather clock. Good night, everyone.